Shambhi, we hope you all are doing well. So today into this respective video, we are going to make out a GUI calendar with the help of the Python programming language. So, okay, let me just do one thing. Let me quickly run out the project right here and show you the output. See, this is how it's going to come. Okay, this is our demo one, I would say out. Okay, let's say I mentioned up here 2022 and I click on show calendar. So this is how it is showing me the complete calendar of 2022. So it's having all the days, let's say January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. Okay, this is how it's having up the things. So as I am again and again saying that we're making a GUI. So GUI means graphical user interface. And that's so in Python, you could make that with the help of the Tkinter library. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write that from Tkinter import, here goes the asterisk. So I'll be importing up the calendar module as well. So with the help of these two modules, we are going to make up today's project. Okay, that all has been set up now after the importing of my libraries. Now what I'll be doing is that I'll be making up a function. Okay, for what I'll be making up that respective function. So that respective function I'll be making up to show the calendar to me for the respective year which has been mentioned by you. So right now what I'll be doing is that I'll be simply keeping the name of the function and simply passing that out. I'll be moving forward with the rest of the things, and when rest of the code has been completed of this respective project, then I will come back here and then I would basically write the whole code for this div, okay, this function. So let's say my calendar name is that's calendar underscore C, my variable name. Okay, that's C. Fine, and I'll put on the brackets like this. So my function has been made. Getting down here, I would simply write on pass for now. Okay, right, for now I would be writing pass, but afterwards I'll be mentioning up the things inside this as well. Great, that has been set it up. Now what I'll be doing is that I'll be making up a main function here. So how do we make that out? Just simply write out main here and hit enter. It will automatically give you this main function of the Python programming language. Okay. Getting down, I'll be making up a variable, and that's a variable I'll be making to make up a Tkinter window. Okay. So let's say here my variable name is root. Root. Okay. Root is equal to, and here goes the tk. So this tk is a function which comes under the Tkinter library, and that is used for making up the Tkinter window. Okay, that's the use of making up this tk variable. This is tk function. Right, so that's what I had made in the root variable. Now at whatever place, wherever I have to put something or I need to write anything on the Tkinter window, or I need to just put on any label or anything like that. So into that respective case, now I'll be at each and every place I'll be using of the root variable only. Great. Getting down here, I will be setting up a configuration. So it would be root.config. Now for what I'm just using up this config, I want to set on a background color. Background is equal to, so for that perspective, I'll be setting up a background color here. Let's say my background color which I want to set up here, let's say yellow. Okay, so I just mentioned that respective color. Okay, here goes root.title. So what's the title for that respective Tkinter window which you will be making, which you have actually already made up in the root variable. So for that I will be putting up the name as, let's say, GUI Calendar. Okay. Getting down here, I could set up a geometry as well for that respective screen. So what I'll be putting up here is, let's say it's root dot, and here goes the geometry function. Okay. Inside the bracket, let's say my geometry is 280 cross 170. Okay, 280 cross 170. Fine, that has been set up. Now what I would do is that at last I will simply write out here root dot main loop. Okay, the spelling main main loop. Okay, one more thing to mention up here. If you are aware of Tkinter library, so you must have understood that why this main loop has written up here. But if you're not aware of that, so I will just quickly give you an idea in 1 minute regarding this main loop function. So main loop is one of the function which helps you to close or end up your program at that respective place, and then only you could run out and check on your output. Okay. Now, a question could be in your mind that what if I don't use a main loop function? So the very first answer will be you won't be able to see your output. So whatever you have written after the main loop, that won't at all get executed. That won't get executed only. Okay, so make sure that whatever you are writing each and everything inside the main loop function only. Great. Let's run that out once again. Fine. So this is my Tkinter window which is appearing up here, which we have actually seen out. Okay. So I will just close this out, disconnect. Fine. Okay. Now next, after setting up this geometry, what I will be writing, now first of all I'll be setting up a label there, and at the top I want that written as calendar. Okay. I want the calendar as to be written up there at the top. So I'll write here, let's say my variable's name. Okay, name is equal to, here goes a label function. So label is a function which basically allows you to write anything onto the Tkinter window. As we in the normal Python, we use a print statements to write on anything, right? So as same in the Tkinter library, you use a label function to write anything onto the Tkinter window. Okay, so label here goes as okay, here we have root comma. What text you want to put on here? The text which I want to put on here is calendar. Oh, calendar, calendar. Okay, that so has been put up here. Now separating by a comma, what is the background color for that respective calendar which you're writing out? Okay, now if you want to set on a background color, you could absolutely set that out, no issue. So let's try to set out the background color is light pink. Okay, getting down here, again putting up a comma. And what about the font? So do you want to give any font specifications as well? So let's say yes, I want to give on some font specifications. So in that respective case, let's say my writing which I want to put up for the font is Arial. The size which I want to put on here is 20, and I want that to be in the bold. Okay, so that has been set up here, bold. Fine. So let's say name dot grid. Now grid is a function which allows you to give the row and the column values where you want to set up that respective label. Okay. So let's say my row is 1 and let's say my column value is as well 1. Fine. Now what if I run out my program? So click out here for run. Now I am getting out this calendar right here. Okay. So this is how you get the things. Now let's close us out here. Okay. After this respective thing has been done, now what's next that we are gonna do out? Okay, instead of 20, I would let that be. Okay. Okay, this label has been set up. After this, now I want out a second label to come, and that is enter the EO. Okay, because as I show you the previous output, so onto that what was happening? First of all, on the above calendar was written. After that, there was written that enter the EO. Then an empty box was there, and onto that you were entering the year, right? And then a button was there to show the calendar. So now we are going to write on that respective second thing, that is enter the year. Fine. So let's say year is my variable. Label in the bracket we have root comma, what's the text? So my text is into the year. Okay, what about the BG color? So let's say background color, I want out here to be now the background as light blue. Separated by a comma, what about the fonts? What about the font specifications? So yes, I want to give that out. Getting down here, 1 second. So my font I want to be in the Arial. Size of the font, let's keep that a little bit small only, right? Let's keep that as 15. And yes, I want that to be in the board. So board has been mentioned up by me. Now what's the place where I just want to place that out? So here dot grid. Now only the row value will change, not the column value. Okay, row will be 2, but the column will again remain the same only. Okay, because I want everything to be in the proper alignment. So row value will be 2, but the column will remain 1 only. Now let's quickly run that out. Great. So here the first of all we were having the calendar written up here, then we were having enter the year. Now after this what we were having? We were having a entry box, right? Into that entry box we were having we were writing up the things onto that entry box. Means we were writing the respective EO. So for that I'll be making up the entry box. year underscore entry. Okay, that's equal to, here we have the entry box. Into the bracket, I could put up the variable name where I just want to put that out, so root. Now you could as well put up some specifications like the font, like the background color if you actually want out. So let's put up some font here. So font is equal to, my font would be in the Arial format. Size would be 15 and it would be bold. Fine. This is the one which I want to put up. Coming down, I'll be setting up the grid for this. So year underscore entry dot, here goes the grid. My row value will again change. Row value will become here as 3 and column value will remain same. That's fine. And now again run that out. Great. So here I am having my entry box. So I could now write out anything onto this entry box. Fine. Now let's close that out here once again. Okay, this has been set up and now at last I simply want to make one single button that would help me to show my calendar. Okay, that is show underscore button, right? That's equal to, I would do one thing, I would leave one line space here so that everything doesn't get mixed up and you are clearly able to see whatever I am writing up here, right? Okay, so show button, as we were using the label previously, so that was for use for writing out anything onto the Tkinter window. When I used the entry, so entry was used to put on some entry that is put on a box inside which you could write. Now I'll be using up here the function that's button. So button is used for making out some buttons here. Okay, button. Okay, here inside this first of all will be my root. Separated by a comma, what will be the text? So the text which I want to write into that button is show calendar. Show calendar. Okay. Okay, I would keep this as here only. Separated by a comma. What about the font color which you will be having onto that? The font color, let's say I want to be red. Okay. And what about the background color? So let's say my background color I want to be let's say blue only. But how come this blue? Okay, let's let that be black. Okay, separated by a comma. Okay, here we have one function that's command function that I'm not entering up here. I'll be entering that in a short while. So now the positions for the show button will be mentioned up here. Show underscore button dot grid. So what's the value for the row? Again, value for row will change, but the value for my column will remain same. Let's give out some font here. Separated by a comma, font will be, let's say I want to put that as Arial only. After Arial, I'll be putting up the size. Let's say my size is 15. Okay, and let that be bold. Now let's check out the program once again. Now it's good to go. Here you have your button that show calendar and that button is actually working out. So as soon as you write out something here and you could click on this respective button. But right now it is not showing you anything. The reason is that because till now the things haven't been mentioned up. Okay, that's the reason. So we'll be mentioning up that as well quickly. Fine. So the layout for my complete program is completely ready here. Now next thing I will be doing up here is that I will be 1 second. First of all, I'll be setting up the command here. So what I would do, I would take this down. Here separate by a comma and command, and the command which the button needs to follow is my above function which I have defined. So that's calendar underscore C. Make sure that you do not put on the brackets here. Okay, that brackets are not required at this respective place. Otherwise, it is not gonna run out properly. Fine. Fine, this is all has been set out here very clearly. Next, I will be doing up here is that I'll be making up my calendar underscore C function. So I would remove this pass from here. For this as well, I'll be making up a window. So let's say my variable, next variable is window. Okay, window is equal to TK because I'll be making up a Tkinter window separately. When I display the output to you in the very starting, there you must have noticed out that when I am displaying the output, so in the very first case, a small window was coming into which I have entered out the year, that for what year I want the calendar to be displayed, right? And when I ran out my program, so into that respective case, another window was coming, and onto that respective window, I was able to see out my calendar. So this is the reason that again I am making here the second window. That's window is equal to tk. Okay, getting down here. Window is my variable with the second variable. Okay, so window dot, and here I'll be mentioning up the config. What about the background color? So, okay, background color, I want to set it as, let's say, that light pink. Some light color only I just want to set out here, okay? What's the title for that second window that will be appearing? So, window dot title, and the title would be complete year calendar. Complete year, okay, that's calendar only. Calendar, fine. DAR, fine. This is the title which I want up here. Great. What is the geometry which you want to give out? So GUI dot, okay, not start, window. So it's window dot geometry, and the geometry which I want to set on here is, let's say, 570 cross, and let's say that's 620. Okay, 570 cross 620. Getting down here, I'll be making up a variable, and that variable so will be storing up my year. Okay, so my variable is, let's say, get year. That's equal to here as, this is completely equal to integer. First of all, I'm typecasting that to integer. Inside that goes year underscore entry dot get. Okay, year underscore entry dot get. So this is the very first thing that I'm doing up here, is that year underscore entry dot get, that I'm getting the entry which has been entered by the user. Fine. Next goes here window underscore content. That what content you want to put on the window. So on window, I want calendar dot calendar in the bracket year. Okay, that's not year, that's get underscore year. So from my calendar library which I have imported, from that particular I want the calendar function, and that so to give the calendar of the respective year which I had mentioned in the Tkinter window. Fine. Next we have okay, that's year underscore calendar, year underscore cal, and here I'll be setting up some labels. So here goes my label. Into the bracket I'm having here as GU. Okay, that's window. Window. Okay. Oh, 1 second. So label window, comma. Next goes here my text. So what is my text which I want to put up here? My text which I want to put up here is window underscore content, because that's always a variable which is storing the content for my calendar, right? Okay, separated by a comma, I'll be setting up here the font. That what's the font? So font will be, let's say, Arial. Next I am having the size, let's say that's 12, and next will be the, let's say, bold. Okay, that has been set up here. Coming down here, setting that onto the row and the columns. So here we have year underscore cal dot, here goes my grid function. So row, what's the value for the row? So row is, let's say, 5. What's the value for the column? So let's say column value is 1. Okay, and at last here closing up the window which has been made up by me using the main loop function, because it is a second window, right? So in that perspective you need to close the second window separately. So here goes window dot, and here goes main loop and the brackets. Fine. So now the program has been completed, which we have written up here. So I have completed the whole program. What I would do is that I would quickly give you a recap for whatever the things we have done up here, and after that I'll be showing you the final output, right? So let's get started up here. Why I'm giving the recap? Because like we have done things a little bit up and down. So in that case, some of you maybe get out confused in that respective thing. So let's quickly see out the complete code. So the Tkinter and the calendar libraries were imported by me because the reason was because with the help of these libraries only we'll be making up today's project, right? So Tkinter is one of the libraries which allow you to make out the GUI applications. Calendar was the one which we have used up here. so that we need to make out a calendar. So in that calendar is a library which was needed up. Fine. After that, we simply made on a function that's calendar underscore c. So what was the reason for making up that respective function? So the reason for making up that respective function was calendar underscore c function will be storing my functions, my modules from the calendar library, which will help me to display on the calendar. But here was one simple thing which I have done. I wanted to see the output onto the second window. So into this respective project, I have made two different windows. Okay, two different windows are made by me. The very first window which was made by me was a very small one in which we were simply getting the space to enter the year of the calendar for which you want to see the calendar. That was the very first window, right? And the second window was there which will be displaying me the complete output we had made out. Now, if you just do not want to make both of those two windows separately, if you want to combine both of the things in one single window, so you could remove on this window is equal to tk, this particular portion you could remove out, and wherever you have used on this window, at each and every place use the same variable that is root. So it will allow you to display both of the things in one single window only. Then I displayed on the main function, I wrote out my main function, and inside that I made out my very first Tkinter window. That first Tkinter window, so for that I had set on my background as the color of yellow color. I want to give it a title, so I just gave that out. I want to give it a geometry, so I as well give that out. Now, here as well one question can come into your mind, that what if I do not get the background color, what if I do not give the title, and what if I do not give the geometry? So there is no such compulsion for giving up all of these things. There's no such compulsion like that. You do not give that out, there's no such issue, it won't show you any kind of error or anything like that. It's not that case. Okay, background color will by default be white. There will be no title into your project. And third, geometry, it will take the by default geometry on its own. Okay, so that is a respective case if you are not mentioning up that background and title and geometry. Fine. So now the next is the label into that. First of all, we want to write on the calendar onto our first Tkinter window. So into the text we wrote on calendar. Background I want to give it as light pink, and the font I want to give this as. So I just mentioned up the things. Now, giving it the labels and all the things is super simple, super easy actually. But one thing comes up here, that is giving up the grid values. Giving the values of rows and column. That at what respective row, at what respective column you want to place on this thing or that thing. Fine. So that's a little bit a kind of thing that you please need to make sure that you are using that the things correct. Otherwise, it will affect out your program. It will not show the desired output. Fine. Second text I mentioned was enter the year, so that has been mentioned up by me. Third, we wanted a box, a white blank box into entry box. Okay, so I wanted that entry box. So whatever the things I was having, whatever the year I have, for what I want to check the calendar, I simply put on that particular year onto that entry box. And downside that I wanted out a show button, a button that I should click and my calendar should display to me. So that's the reason here we use a show calendar. Okay, and here I closed out the main loop. That's completely fine. That has been all set up. Now, next thing here, what I did is that I here simply made on the config. That is the background. Okay, I just first one made on my calendar underscore c, my function, which will help me to display the calendar. Inside that, I made a separate window, and that's the name of the variable was window only. I set the configurations light pink. Title was complete year calendar, or geometry was this respective. Okay. Here we have typecasted it into integer, that is like whatever the year name you are giving, whatever the year you are mentioning, let's say 2022, 2023, 24, whatever you are mentioning up here. Instead of that string, I want that into the integer format. Then only it will be able to show up the calendar, right? So that's the reason I had simply put up here int in the starting. I automatically typecasted that out. Okay, and dot get means to retrieve the information. Then window content variable was made, which was basically calling my calendar function to get me the year, to get me the calendar of the respective year which has been mentioned up by me. Then after that, you wanted out a label as well, that onto the very top of my second Tkinter window. I wanted that it as well shall be displayed out that for what year you are seeing up the calendar. So that thing particular will be as well mentioned up through this respective command which we have written up. And after that, I was having up a simple grid. So grid was mentioned up by me, that these were the values which were mentioned by me. I simply added PADX is equal to 20 as well. And here at last we were having window dot main loop. So this was the complete idea of the program which we have written up here, and this is the idea. Now what I would do is that I would run out this program once and show you the complete output. Let me take it to here only. Enter the year. Let's say first of all I would put 2021. So see, it's displaying me the complete calendar of mine for the year. See, above year is mentioned, that is 2021. Here the title is coming, that is complete year calendar. Background color for this is light pink, that we have mentioned. So this is for 2021, which we are actually getting out here. I would close this out for now. Okay, I would just once again terminate this out. Now let's run it out and check it out some far year. Okay, so here let's have put up the year, that is 2050, and if I click on show calendar right here, so see, it's showing me the calendar for 2050. So it's the automatic, it's basically a library which is actually completely working up here. So you enter up any of the year and it is going to display you the output of any of the respective years, either it was before or it was after, it doesn't matter out. Okay, so this is how you can make out a GUI calendar onto your own with the help of the Python programming language. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.